Welcome to Afternoon Express. A habit is something that you do often and regularly, sometimes without knowing that you are doing it. Habits can have a profound impact on our daily lives, but what exactly makes a habit? Joining us is Paul Wolpert, a transformational life coach and mentor, who will share his perspective and expertise. Welcome, Paul.
Thanks, Sarita. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. What is a habit?
What is a habit? I suppose the closest definition would be a routine pattern of behavior that we regularly undertake on a daily basis, but it often happens in a subconscious way.
Okay. I like that. So it's something that we do without even thinking about it.
That's correct. It's almost involuntary.
Okay. Tell me more about habits, and I want to know, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to stick to a habit?
Well, that's the challenge. Interestingly enough, it's very much to do with the brain function. So the brain obviously tries to free up space most of the time. And what it does is it takes our challenges, our daily actions, and it creates separate little pockets for our habits. But in doing so, what it's doing is it's freeing up space for our general day-to-day lives to continue. Now, why are habits difficult to let go of or to change? Therein lies the challenge. So often we are faced with daily habits that we do that we know don't serve us. And it's a challenge, and this is where the courage comes in of trying to make those changes for the better self.
Yes. What is the difference between I love calling a habit, in my world, a practice, because I believe that it's something that you've got to practice over and over and over again, but that's not my question. My question is, what is the difference between a habit and a routine or a ritual?
Well, good question. So a habit, as I said, is more of a subconscious thought, where a routine is a conscious thought. So let's take an example where first thing in the morning we brush our teeth. It's subconscious. It's something that we do on a daily basis. We go about our business. A routine, one could say, is, well, I'd like to go to gym every Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. And we're creating a routine that becomes part of our daily lives. Often what does happen when those routines are good for us, in other words, when they fill us up, those routines turn into good habits.
Yes. And I guess you could say the same for bad habits.
Absolutely. So bad habits, so what I'd like to try and explain is, let's say within you have an energy battery, the human energy battery. On a good day, your battery's full.
Yes.
It's got the red plus the 4 green bars. But on a bad day, when we're stressed or anxious or dealing with problems, the battery depletes.
Yes.
Same to be said for habits. A good habit expands our battery, fills our battery up. Bad habits depletes the battery.
Okay, interesting. Tell me about there are so many different books out there and so many brands out there that speak about how long it takes to develop a habit. Is there such a thing as, 7 days or 21 days or Monday?
I think it's all around practice. I don't think there's any given time. We have to be I think it starts off being very aware that there is an issue, maybe if it's a bad habit. Let's take, for example, what's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, if I might ask?
The first thing I do, I go to the bathroom, and then I meditate. So I have that's become a habit,
So often many people that we speak to, what's the first thing they do when they wake up? They grab their cell phone, and it's onto social media. So that would be considered a bad habit. And as long as there's an awareness of that, then there's the opportunity for change. So I use a small technique it's similar to the guys with the rugby referees, called pause, engage, but it's pause before you engage. So you wake up in the morning, your hand reaches out to the cell phone, but you're aware that that is not a good habit. So what we do is we stop ourselves from doing that. And it's important then at that stage to change direction. Get up, go outside, put your feet on the ground, listen to the birds chirping, and actually changing that habit for the better.
So Paul, I know that you're a transformational coach as well, so I'd like to ask you about the step before we do all of that, because that to some degree, you'd have to have some sort of consciousness in order to be able to go, oh, I'm reaching for my phone, let me pause and stop and take a breath. How do we develop that stage before, where we don't just mindlessly go for the phone, where we get to that point where we are taking the breath or the pause?
So I think what you mentioned around being consciously aware of our actions. And once again, understanding the fact that repetition of a bad habit or something we do that doesn't fulfill us or serve us has to move on. And there's change required. Now, change often is associated with fear, because to change something, we know, well, what's on the other side? But we have one opportunity in this journey of life. And what I would say is find the courage. Also, step into your intuition. What happens when a bad habit or something bad happens? It often goes to our stomach. We feel that, we tense up, our shoulders tense up. When something good happens, we release, we're much kind of more flexible. And I think it's trying to find that point. So to answer your question, I think as long as you're aware at that stage of your actions, it's practice, Zoraida. It takes years and years of practice. I'm still practicing the same thing. But it's important that every day we are understanding that. So we're looking for a more coherent state within ourselves on a day-to-day basis, which is more balance in that sense. And anything that pushes us off our balance or takes us off our true north, we've got to grab that rudder of the ship and get back to the true north.
I love that you said that, because it's so important, and that's where embodiment comes up. It's so important to be able to feel your body, and you're so right. When I slip up when I'm trying to develop a new habit, I can feel it in my body. I can physically feel that this doesn't feel right. And whether I make that change or not remains to be seen, but first it's that feeling that comes up for me. And so I think that learning to get embodied, learning to understand the language of your body is so important too, I guess, in developing habits.
Absolutely, Zoraida, and there are many states. So there is the physical body, but there's the spiritual, the mental, the physical. And it's those kind of four corners that we have to be careful of and monitor at all times. Are the battery levels of all four of those at their peak? Can we function in a day-to-day scenario? When stress arises, can we manage those things? And it's around professional, around business, anything, our personal lives, relationships. How do we respond to those things as well? And we create habits, and habits are created, in a sense, to serve us. And as I said, it's all subconscious. We don't even know that we're doing it. But there's also different ways of introducing new habits. And as soon as a new habit feels good, in other words, as soon as it puts a smile on your face, you know that's what you have to tap into. And it takes practice, consistency, and just being mindfully aware every single day for the outcome, for the better outcome.
I love that. I love this topic. Thank you so much, Paul. Thanks for your expertise. I want to end off with this wonderful quote that goes, motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. On social media, we'd love to know from you, what is a healthy habit that you would like to start? Remember to use the hashtag Afternoon Express.